There we
All right.
go.
So people should be, I started it's recording now and I just started it. So attendees are probably going to be coming in shortly.
Okay, good. Well, why don't I call the meeting to order and then you can see if there's public participation. So I'm
Sure.
calling the Common Council Ordinance Committee regular meeting today, March 19th, 2024. We're beginning the meeting at 7:05. I see that council members Heather Dunn, Jalen Seed, Josh Goldstein, and Johan Lopez are all joining us today. The two missing are Nora Najelski-Eitner and Melissa Murray.
Lisa, it looks like Nora's here.
Oh, good. Nora made it after all. Good.
Yep.
Nora Najelski-Eitner is also here. The first thing we are going to do is take public comments. So Brian, do you see anybody with their hands up?
Okay. Let's see. All right, we have three attendees. If any of the attendees would like to participate in public participation, please raise your hand at this time. All right, no one's raising their hand, Lisa.
Okay, then I'm going to close public comment. And the next matter of business is the acceptance of the minutes for February 20th, 2024. First, I'd like to thank Miss Najelski-Eitner for covering the meeting for me that night. I so appreciate that. So I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes as filed.
Wait,
That's great.
there are
And now,
some,
does anybody have any changes? Looks like Miss Dunn does.
it says Miss Anna Heshek. I think that's Tabachnik.
Let me double check. Hold on one second.
Um,
What page, Heather? Do you know?
that's the beginning, the last paragraph.
Oh yeah, that's definitely not the right spelling.
Spelled that way a couple times.
Yeah,
And
I what I'll do is I think it's I believe you're correct. I think it's like Anna Tabat. It's like a TABA or something along those lines. I will try to find the correct spelling and I will do a control search and change those.
That'll be great.
T and Z, so she should be relatively easy to find.
Yes.
Great. Thank you for that correction. Jalen, you have your hand raised also for a correction?
Yes, just on the first page, it just lost it. It's just my spelling, the spelling of my name in attendance, just Jalin.
Yep. Got it.
Great.
Jalen, I'll make sure that if your name is placed anywhere else, that it's correctly spelled.
All right, thank you.
Do a control on that one as well. Great. So with those two corrections, are there any other corrections or shall we vote on them? No more corrections? Okay, so with the corrections as noted, all in favor of accepting the minutes? That is unanimous. Thank you, Nora. Great. All right, the next piece of business we have today should be a relatively short meeting, I hope. We have just 3 separate ordinances that all have just like little corrections that we would be liking to make. So the first one is discuss and vote on Chapter 19, which is bidding and purchasing, sections 19.1 and 19.2.
And
Thanks for bringing that up.
Sharon Connors was nice enough to join us. Thank you, Sharon.
Yes, thank you, Sharon. We hate to take your evening up with this, but we hope to be fast. So if you'd just like to give us a couple of words about why we're making these changes, which I think everybody's looking forward to having made, that would be great.
Not a problem. So the first one is the threshold for bidding. In the ordinance as stated, it has a threshold amount of 20K. We would like to move the dollar amount and refer back up to the state legislation, which is section 7-148V. So it needs to either be at no more than that dollar threshold or less than. So basically on the state level, it's actually $25,000.
Great. So we're just coordinating with what the state will allow a municipality to do.
That is correct.
And we're citing to the statute because otherwise we're going to have to come back every time they change it.
And we don't want to do that.
Nope.
All right, so section, so as I said, this is all like we're in cleanup mode today. So can you want us to talk to us about 19.2 now?
Sure. 19.2 is it previously referred to the old section of the charter, which now we're just cleaning up to the new placement in the charter, which is section 8. Sorry, I'm blind as a bat, 8-4.
Capital D.
Oh, yeah.
I gotcha.
I'm gonna pass and not pass in the eye test today.
That's okay. So those
Um,
are the two small changes. They're really
Yeah.
pretty perfunctory teams. So what we'd like to do is take a vote to take this to public hearing. So to be a public hearing on our April date. And Josh, do you have a question about it?
Only, excuse me, a quick question. I couldn't tell if the procurement guide, just to confirm, that's an existing thing that's exists right now, correct?
Yep, that
Okay.
exists right now, and it's our Bible.
Yeah. Okay, that's it.
Good. So all in favor of taking sections 19.1 and 19.2 to public hearing at our April meeting? Oh, actually, I need one of you guys to make the motion. I can't make the motion myself. Thank you, Ms. Dunn. Now we can take the vote. Thank you. Great. That's unanimous. All righty. I might get you guys out of here by 7:30. This could really go well.
Yeah,
So the
thank you.
second, thank you, Sharon. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Sharon.
No
Have a
problem.
nice
Take
night.
care.
The next thing is to discuss and vote to take chapter 105, taxation, article 5, Board of Assessment and Appeals, section 103-14. So Brian, I think you're covering this one, right?
Yes.
Another little cleanup situation.
Yeah, so basically, we were taking a look at the language in 103.14. And first of all, it's inconsistent. And because of that inconsistency, we needed to clean it up and to make sure that it also was consistent with the state statutes. And so we are allowed to have 3 regular members and 3 alternate members appointed to the Board of Assessment Appeals. And during a revaluation, we can add 4 regular members and 4 additional regular members and 4 additional alternates, excuse me, for a total of 7 regulars and 7 alternates. The 4 alternate regulars and the 4 additional regular members and the 4 additional alternate members can only serve for the revaluation year. And then when their 1-year term expires, they cannot be reappointed. We go back to the 3 and 3 until the next revaluation year. So we tried to make sure that our ordinance was consistent with language, as you can see, it wasn't before, and to make sure that it was also consistent with the general statute 9-199C.
Thank you. And Josh, you've got a question.
I assume the purpose of this is because I would imagine the Board of Assessment Appeals is busier in a revaluation year than it would be in some other year.
That is correct.
I guess the only question I had is in the last sentence of B1, where it says the mayor shall appoint additional members subject to confirmation by the Common Council during that reevaluation assessment year. For example, there was a reevaluation that happened last year. Does this mean the mayor should have appointed them in 2023, or can the mayor appoint people, say, in 2024 for a reevaluation that happened in the preceding year?
Reading it
That
again, bear with
year.
me.
Yeah, it's that year. So like, wouldn't that be our whole fiscal year of that?
The Board of Assessment Appeals is hereby increased to 7 regular members and 7 alternate members for any assessment year during which a revaluation becomes effective.
So it became effective.
When the revaluation was, I guess, finalized, approved, becomes effective. I would think it would have to be the year that,
It becomes effective, which
right,
is
so it'd
in
be
this
this
case,
coming,
year.
yeah.
Do you have language that you think that would be more clarifying, Josh? That you suggest?
I'm thinking about, because I guess I saw the language about which a reevaluation becomes effective. And I guess I almost think to make it clear, because a reevaluation is going to take place. The reevaluation process takes a duration of a period of months. Once that I mean, I'm calling it the reevaluation period. Someone in finance or, in the finance department is going to tell me I'm saying this incorrectly, but they do their assessments, they go to people's homes, businesses, whatever. And at some point, then it becomes effective for the purposes of people's taxes. So that language is what? That it would be effective this year because this is the first year that reevaluation is going to be applied to the taxes of residents and businesses. Was that what this means, Brian?
It's a good question. I'm gonna have to go back to the tax assessor and I can go back and ask that question.
Because
I think
otherwise,
that-
then because I was going to say if that is the case, I think then we need to make this just. I mean, I realize that this feels simplified, but it almost feels like simplified to the point where people don't actually understand what this is. It should be,
Isn't there a difference between reassessment and revaluation, though? They're two separate things. The assessment piece versus the valuation. Is that maybe where the wording gets?
No, it's
No,
really. only
I
the
don't think
reevaluation
that's
piece.
where this gets. I mean, since a reevaluation happens twice a decade,
Yeah, yeah.
it's not exactly like it's going to be a mystery to people when a reevaluation process is happening. It's just the question is, by this ordinance, when can the mayor appoint these people? Right? The way
Yep.
I read this, I read this two different ways. I didn't know if the effective date would be the year after the reevaluation or if it has to be during that reevaluation assessment year, which is different than the effective year. Right?
Wait a second, is that really right? Because like when they're doing the revaluation, there's nothing to complain about. What you're really complaining about is your revaluation. So it has to be when the reevaluation's effective, I would think, right?
I would think so
Can't
too.
complain while they're doing it. Yeah.
Right. I agree with that because you don't even know, you don't have anything to complain about at that
No.
point. Yeah.
That's,
That became effective in February. So I think that,
Then change it to reevaluation effective year. Or I don't know.
Yeah.
There's got to be a better language than this, but
so
I
I
think
mean,
that it,
but it's,
Brian, if you were to, hold on one second, if Brian, if you're to change this language just in this slight way where Josh and I are trying to get clarification for when it becomes completely effective, that's not going to be a substantial change, right? So if we made that
No.
change at the next meeting to conform.
Yeah,
we can
no,
still
that
send
wouldn't
it to
be a
public hearing.
substantial change.
Okay, good. So we want, that's one of the things. So we can still vote it to public hearing for next month and get that taken care of. And we could just clarify with some, I hear you, Josh. I feel the same way that it just would be
It's a good question. It should
It'd be
be
better
clear.
to make it extremely clarifying.
Yep.
You like very clear,
Mhm.
because it makes sense that you're gonna need extra help after you have the reevaluation and you have all
Right.
the complaints.
I think we all know what this is for. It's just making sure that a future, this mayor, future mayor doesn't go, oh crap, I was supposed to do this
Yeah.
at some time, like just making sure that, this mayor and future mayors know what they have to do and when they have to do it.
And it does
that's-
say shall, so he must do it or she must do it. So
Yeah,
we're in that place where we want them to be clear. So let's just add the language we think that we should add, because I think that's probably, I think we pretty much are right about the issue, but we just need to be right about the language.
So
So
what language do you want, Lisa?
I think it's that last sentence. We just want to be a little bit clearer. It says the mayor shall appoint additional members subject to confirmation by council during that revaluation assessment year.
or during which a reevaluation becomes effective, or
So-
something where the word assessment in the second sentence is eliminated and the word effective, like there's symmetry between the two sentences.
So do you want to say the year in which the reevaluation becomes effective?
Yes.
Which one are we talking about?
So
The
we're
first
gonna
sentence?
say-
second sentence, instead of the language where it says during that reevaluation assessment year,
Yeah,
I would omit the words that reevaluation assessment year,
yep,
right,
during,
Lisa? And
Yes.
change it to
The
whatever
year,
Lisa just said.
yeah, the year that the reevaluation becomes effective.
all right, let me read this sentence, second sentence. The mayor shall appoint additional members subject to confirmation by the common council during the year that the revaluation becomes effective.
Um,
I don't know if we need during.
Okay.
The year the reevaluation becomes effective.
The mayor shall appoint additional members subject to confirmation by the common council the year that the revaluation becomes effective.
Does that solve it for you, Josh? Anybody else? Heather might have.
Do we, as a council, I wasn't here, but do we have to vote on conducting an assessment, a reassessment, or no?
No, I think it's
No.
required by state statute.
Yeah.
This vote, now we do the assessment, reassessment.
Wait,
does-
What was that?
Does I know that by charter or whatever, you have to do it every 5 years, but do you actually have a period of time or a vote or a common council meeting where you have to vote to actually conduct the reassessment?
no,
Automatically,
it's required by state statute. So
but does this,
we're,
when it has to start and end?
yeah.
So that.
Prescribed.
Admittedly, though, not every municipality does it at the same time, but it does need to happen every 5 years. Like Stanford did theirs a year before us.
All right, so, and then Brian, do you want to just, once we'll vote to take this over to public hearing, but can you just double check with the tax assessor's office that they're
Yes.
comfortable with what we've done?
I'll send them over the draft of 103, the changes that everyone's made here tonight, and ask them to comment on all of it, but specifically B1, which was the focus of tonight.
Yeah, and we'll still take it to public hearing based upon what we're going to vote on tonight, but if we need to make a small change on that, that's not, well, the reason why I'm going through this exercise for the new members is that if we're going to make a substantial change, then our public hearing isn't valid, but if we're making an insubstantial change to a word or two, it's effective to still have the public hearing. So that's why we're going through this tedious conversation.
Sorry.
May I have a
That's
motion?
okay. No, we'd rather get it right.
May we have a motion to take this to public hearing? Josh, you've got it. All in favor? All right, that's unanimous. Great. Okay, our last one. We're not going to make it to 7:30, but we won't be long. Discuss and vote on Chapter 63, Law Department, Section 63(1) through 63(7). So Brian, this is definitely your show.
Yep. All right, so as you can see from the changes that were made, which are in blue and red, I don't know why they went different colors when we were making changes, but as you can see in 63(1), we changed it to the new charter section and removed the old charter section. And in 63(2), we just kind of cleaned up the language a little bit. Minor changes, capitalizing city, getting rid of shall in 63(2)(e). 63(3), just again, minor changes, crossed out some language that was duplicative. In 63(3)(c), the terms for assistant corporation counsel were changed from 2 to 4, because the terms for assistant corporation counsel is 4-year terms pursuant to the union contract. And they're no longer 2-year terms. This is a very dated ordinance. It probably hasn't been changed since 1984. So we made that change to make it consistent with the union contract.
Brian, can I ask a question about that?
Sure.
Then, because I'm having trouble wrapping my head around the why of this.
Mhm.
Would it not make sense to just say that it has to correspond with the union contract? Like, why are we putting years on it? Do you know what I'm saying?
It's a fair question. It kind of goes to the point of why do we put monetary numbers in as opposed to just citing to the statute, so we don't have to constantly change it. Quite honestly, in the last we're talking about 40 years, this is the only change. This is the only time that the numbers change, but it is a fair point. The other thing is that the assistant corporation counsels are currently in the NASA union, but they haven't been in very long. So this is a more recent change. I think they've been in for less than 10 years, is my understanding. So it's a fair question. It's something we could definitely discuss, and it wouldn't be a major change. It would be saying 4 years, or just be saying it a different way.
Do you want to leave it that way right now and then confirm with Mario what his preference is, and we can change it at the public hearing? Brian?
Whatever everyone wants to do at the council is fine with me. I'm more than happy to do it that way.
Yeah, rather than like, I feel a little queasy about referring to union contracts and ordinances, because I feel like that is something that could change. I don't know. How do you feel about that, Josh, as the other attorney?
Don't do it.
On with
I
it.
feel like it shouldn't, yeah, you're fine
The
with it.
problem with referring to a contract is a contract could be null and void, a contract could expire. You
True.
would be making an assumption that a contract would be renewed or renegotiated when that may not happen. I'm uncomfortable with, and also a contract is, and I realize they're public in the sense that it's with a public union and a public entity, but you know, a law or an ordinance is a different legal instrument than a contract. So I'm a hard no on that one.
Yeah, I feel like I'm a hard no on that too, just for, I
Mm.
don't like to make references to contracts that can be subject to change in an
Mhm.
ordinance that is hard to change.
Okay, I'll still inquire from Corporation Counsel about Heather's question about 4 versus the other thing and see what his thoughts are.
I mean, I think in keeping the years is just a safer way to go, and it's easier to change years than contracts.
Okay.
What's any
Um,
other, you want to keep going? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. In 63.4, again, we just changed the fact that the charter provision has changed because the charter has changed. We removed gender language just to put they instead of he or she. Deputy Corporation Counsel. As we discussed, the Corporation Counsel is selected by the mayor. And the deputy and assistant corporation counsels are going to be appointed by the mayor, and they're subject to confirmation by the Common Council. Just so everyone's aware, assistant corporation counsels, when they come up for reappointment, are subject to confirmation by the Common Council at that time. So they're subject to confirmation when they're appointed, and they're also subject to confirmation when they are reappointed and in their 4-year term. Subsection B is something that goes on a regular basis, and it just wasn't placed in here. And so we thought the language was important and necessary for many reasons. One, when we have cases that exceed our coverage limits, KERMA, who's our excess carrier, has the right to retain their own counsel. And while we the law department are able to give our say, we do not have a choice as to who they retain. It's their decision. We would also we also need to retain attorneys who specialize in areas of law that the law department is not specialized in, whether it be patent law or bankruptcy, for example, which are 2 complicated areas that you really have to be practicing in on a regular basis. So that was the reasoning behind 63.5 subsection B. To make it largely consistent with the history and the practice of retaining outside counsel. And Deputy Corporation Counsel, again, pretty relatively minor changes, but basically he's appointed by the mayor, and he can be removed only for just cause. He's an ordinance position. That he or she is an ordinance position.
Great. Any other questions, team? So that said, I would entertain a motion to take this to public hearing also at our April meeting. Thank you, Jalen. All in favor? And Nora, 100%. So we're all covered. So that is all of our business, and we are going to finish before 7:30. Somebody want to give me a motion to adjourn?
I'll get back to you on the tax assessor issue.
Johan. Okay, great. So I think
Thank you.
we're set. So motion to adjourn, we're good. Those 3 things are going to go to public hearing. Just one other thing I'm going to mention, I shouldn't say this, we've already supposedly adjourned, but the next, I don't think I even really need to mention, we're going to do some harbor management work next time. So I was going to mention it. We were going to bring it forward, but it's not quite ready for prime time. So we'll bring it in April. We'll talk about that. Great. Well, thanks everybody. Enjoy your
Good
night.
night.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.